And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with Ted DeBettencourt. And well, Ted, thank you for squeezing me into your calendar and spending a few minutes with me today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, it's going to be a great conversation. So Ted runs a company called Juvo Leads, and what they do, well, we'll get into that, but really it's human powered chat answering service for your website.
That's right.
Hang on to that because we're going to dive deep in why this is so very cool. I want to know, Ted, first of all, how in the world did you get to doing this?
Great question. But first off, just want to say thank you very much for having me on today. Excited to be here and chat with you and get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is myself.
There you
go. So we got into Juvo Leads when I had a small marketing agency. I was in the Boston area, just a small one-man shop, had about 10 law firms and a few other businesses, dermatologists, some home service businesses. And my clients started using a few different services. They were using the call tracking. I was using different software to track their forms. And then they started, the chat companies started reaching out to them. And I started realizing I was managing 3 or 4 different chat vendors on behalf of my clients. And the problem was, there was a few issues. One, I wasn't really in full control of the chat and I was getting frustrated. So I'd ask them to make changes to the chat scripts, but they wouldn't make them. So eventually I was getting fed up and saying, hey, if you guys don't make these changes, I'm going to, kick you to the curb. So lo and behold, they didn't make the changes. So I kicked him to the curb. And we actually I had a partner I was working with at the time on a side project. At the time, it was called Fast Style. So we built it as the way to beat chat. And what it was is it would pop up on your desktop website and it would say, enter your phone number. And you'd enter the phone number there and it would generate a phone call to the business or the firm first, and then call the chatter or the person who entered it secondly. And we thought this was going to be the chat killer product. So we did a whole bunch of A/B testing and lo and behold, it didn't work. So it was effective, but it was not nearly as effective as chat. So I said, all right, well, I'm going to go back to these companies who I don't really like, or I'm going to try to answer my client's own chat. So purely out of frustration, I said, well, I'm not working with these clients again, so I'm going to answer my own chats. So I worked with a partner on the side project from the Fast Style days and turned that into a way for me to answer the chats better. And we started with me answering my 10 clients' chats, and now we grew it to about 1,200 clients around the country.
That's awesome. Okay, so just in case there are people out there listening who are not really clear what we're talking about, because this is not Chat GPT. So just get that out there. Mm-hmm. What in the world are we talking about? You go to a website, you got chat. Unpack what chat is, and then what you do differently.
Sure. So when people talk about website chat, they're usually talking about one of two things. So it's a robot chat or it's a human powered chat. So a robot chat would be like a Chat GPT. There's a few other different models on the market where you're chatting with something and it has a pre-written response. Some are better than others. The Chat GPT is pretty impressive. We're on the different category. So we're the chat software, but we're also powered, instead of by a Chat GPT engine, we're powered by human powered chat agents. We like to say butts in the seat, not bots in the cloud. So we got real people sitting there answering questions on behalf of our clients 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, with real people answering their questions. And we find out from the client up front how they want us to answer chats. And then we learn from them how we should answer chats, how we should qualify leads. And then we only send our clients the fully qualified leads.
Fascinating. So going back to the old school human aspect, I love that.
Yeah. Very manual. Everyone's zigging, we're zagging here.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about chat. And because I'm on a lot of websites who have it, I'm on a lot of websites that don't. Talk about the importance of it, the value of it, who uses it, things of that nature.
Great question. So how it's used is we exist as a business because when we go on a website, if it doesn't have chat and the site's a good fit, not all sites are good fit. So we're really big in the legal vertical, home services, retirement homes, things like that. But we're not really big in e-commerce or B2B. So if a client's on a site that's a good fit, when we go on that site, we give them a free 30-day trial to prove one thing and one thing alone. that because of chat, they're going to get at least 50% more leads. And we give every business that we work with a free 30-day trial. And we're confident that they see that 50% jump in leads when they use us. So that's the why as to why use chat, because you get more leads.
Awesome. And because of the fact that you're using humans to do the chat and to vet the prospect, let's say, those 50% more leads are actually good, qualified leads.
Exactly right. We named the company Juvo, which is Latin for good or qualified. So we're all about sending not just junk or spam, but we filter that out for the businesses. So we're only sending the leads that they want, the Juvo leads, if you will.
Okay, very interesting. Now, I've seen on some websites, yours in particular, when I go there, so many times there's a little chat box thing, a jigger, but when I went to your website, there's actually a video of you. Is that normal? Is that what?
Great question. We have a few different ways we start chats. The one that we've had the most success with of late is when we use a video. So we're on a lot of legal websites, and lawyers in particular can be scary for a person. You know, it's the first time they've been in a car accident, first time they need a divorce attorney, bankruptcy, something like that. They've had a bad situation. A lawyer can be somewhat intimidating, somewhat scary. They don't know how the process works. It's all new to them. By having a video play before the chat of the business owner, of the firm owner, it kind of softens the blow and builds rapport. People hire businesses that they know, like, and trust. So we use that video to kind of build rapport, build that know, like, and trust credibility with the visitor as a way to start the chat. So we're really finding that as an engagement tool to help get our chat numbers up for our clients.
Yeah. And I thought it was cool. And so we'll have your website link in the show notes. I want people to just go to your website just to experience it, because I think that was one of the first times I'd ever seen somebody use video like that. I mean, it's like, I don't know, a 15-second video. It's not long.
Yep.
But it is really engaging.
Thank you.
And it's like, oh, well, I don't know that I've ever seen that before, because it's not the little tiny box. It's actually a picture of you down there going, who is that? And so I was more inclined just to click the video and listen.
Yeah.
And that's part of building that relationship, lowering the fear factor, and then getting somebody to go, okay. So I assume an attorney, let's say, could use that and go, if you have questions, just put them in the chat and one of our live assistants will answer, or something like that. Do you use the live thing when you're talking with the person on the other side of the chat?
So the video is a way to start the conversation with our agents. Once you click into the video, then our team takes over, and it's no longer like, it's not like a Zoom conversation. It's more of a regular text communication. The video is how we start the conversation. So how the conversations usually go are, hey, I just have a small question about XYZ. For a lot of our times, if they're asking a legal question, we can't legally answer legal questions. That would be against the law.
Illegal.
Illegal. So our job is to take their questions and then say, that's a great question. I'd love to find out if we can help you with that. Do you mind if I ask a few questions first? So we take their questions, build a little bit of rapport with them, and then get into our qualification questions so we can find out if it's the type of case that we can help with. And then if so, we set up a consultation with the business owner, appointment, consultation, whatever that next step is for the business or firm owner.
So like with an attorney, then you when you first start working with that firm, you're talking to them about, okay, what are the qualification questions that we need to be asking?
Yep.
So that, explain that a little bit more.
Everyone we work with has a different set of rules and criteria for which they want us to qualify their leads. So, no two businesses are alike, no two anything is alike. So we always find out up front what makes for a good lead, but more importantly, what makes for a bad lead. I don't want to waste their time sending them leads that aren't meeting the criteria of people or that they want to work with. So we always find out what questions we can ask to screen out the bad leads. So that custom onboarding is really important to find out what leads we send them. So it's always custom for each website that we work with.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So this is when one of the biggest challenges with business is lead generation, right?
Yep.
And the reality is there are a lot of people who are hitting your website because they're searching, they're researching, they're looking for solutions. And if you don't have a chat feature like this on your website and the person isn't quite finding what they want, guess what? They're bailing. They're going somewhere else. That's where somebody like Juvo Leads can really help to go, engage, ask a question. Is that fair? What I just
Yeah, 100%. So at the end of the day, we exist because a lot of firms that we're on and websites that we're on have thousands of pages of content. But the reality is most people aren't going to find that.
Right.
So they use us as a way to kind of, hey, I'm looking for information on an XYZ. And they have a question. They're hoping to find content that answers that question. So we use their inquiry as a way to say, hey, let's find out if we can help you with that. So what we do is make a website more engaging, which in turn leads to a lot more qualified conversations and leads for the website owner.
Yeah. So another way to look at this, I guess, is you could have a almost a concierge, some kind of you could hire that person. So call me, we'll answer any question you want, like a concierge at a hotel, or you can just put Juvo Leads on your website and have a team of concierge. How does that work? Does every firm have like one person? Well, no, it can't, because you're 24/7. You're like around the clock.
Yeah, we have different teams based on vertical, practice area, lines of business. So we understand we have chat teams that are based on, our home service team, our retirement home team, our PI team, our bankruptcy team. We have different teams depending on how many licenses we have in a certain vertical. And then from there, every time a chat starts, they see the rules for that particular firm. They understand the caveats. So we do about a 3-month onboarding process for all our new chat agents, just to make sure they really understand the ins and outs of each of the businesses they're working with.
That's good. And from a perspective of somebody who's used chat in different industries and different things, it can get frustrating sometimes when I said do an answer and it's like, just a moment, please. Still hang on. We are still waiting. And it's like, okay, come on. How do you, what kind of like response time? And I'm talking a little bit about that because it gets frustrating. It's like, I'm done with you.
Yep. And there's 2 ways we score our chat agents. Every chat we have that comes in gets scored on a 1 through 10 scale. They're scored different minuses based on what they do. The biggest thing that we're always counting is time. Yeah. So they have 9 seconds to answer the first chat that comes in. So the first response is 9 seconds. After that, they have up to 20 seconds, depending on the complexity of the answer. Every 10 seconds after 20, it's minus a second, minus a point. So what we're really trying to do is answer those chats as fast as possible, depending on the complexity. If they answer every chat under 10 seconds, they get a bonus. So we hire, fire, promote, demote our chat agents based on the speed. So they're financially incentivized to answer right and answer as quickly as possible. Because at the end of the day, what matters more than how you answer, it's how fast. Chats go poorly when someone's sitting there twiddling their thumbs. So those are always the metrics that we're evaluating our chats on a chat response by response level.
Yeah.
So every chat response has a score, as is the total score for their monthly usage.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Well done. Way to go. Because that is probably the worst thing about chat for me is, or I assume most of the ones I've used have been, AI, whatever, but, and they don't understand what I'm asking well enough.
Yeah, the syntax. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
So I'm totally sure having a human would just be able to, because they can intuit. And
we can understand. And a lot of people are saying, well, how much longer until Chat GPT takes over? And, maybe at some point it will. We're not holding our breath because, there's always something different that could come. But one of the things that we always look at is a lot of times our greatest skill is that when people ask a question that we don't have the answer to, how do we answer that in a way without saying, sorry, I don't know?
Right.
What we do instead and say, hey, that's a great question. I'd love to set you up with someone who can answer that. Do you mind if I ask a few more questions? Yeah. So we always get hit with very direct questions. Our job and our skill is sometimes about dodging a direct answer so we can qualify that lead further. Because there's a lot of tire kickers out there that people are just coming on a website. They're not looking to hire. They just want their answer and they're going to leave. So we're trying to take those conversations and make sure we qualify them first so we can weed out the tire kickers and turn their questions into leads for the business. So it does take a little bit of social skill and something that we haven't been able to see even a bot like ChatGPT do to a point where we're happy with.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. The other thing that I want, and your website's really good because you've got pricing models on there, because some people hear this and they're like, okay, this is going to be like wicked expensive. This is going to be hundreds and thousands of dollars a month. Talk a little bit about different models of pricing and how really affordable this is.
Yeah, so we exist on kind of the basis that we eat what we kill. So we need to do two things. One, prove how effective we are to our clients. And that's why we lead with that 30-day free trial. We let everyone that their website qualifies to use us for free for 30 days so they can see how many more leads they get. After that, we're strictly on a pay for performance model. The business defines what makes for a good lead. After the free 30-day trial, we sit down with them and say, here's how many leads we sent you. Here's what the cost would have been. What do you think? If they like it, they continue. If they don't, they don't. And we charge $35 per qualified lead. So every time a lead comes in, if it meets the criteria that the business wants and we send it to them, then it's a qualified lead. So if we send them one lead, it's $35. We send them 10, it's $350. So it really varies month to month, but it's based on what makes for a good lead for them.
That's amazing. That's so inexpensive when you look at the cost for social media ads or radio or whatever to get a lead, not a qualified lead, but a lead. So you've already done the pre-qualification. You're serving them up on a silver tray. Here's somebody who is truly needing your help and is a good fit for you. Now it's your job to take them and close them, right? That's another issue. But that's super affordable for business owners, especially attorneys, if they want to grow their business without even growing their team, because they're partnering with you. You've got the team, you've got the metrics. They're just sitting there, in a sense, finding new appointments on their calendar or however they do it, right? New phone calls coming in, and that's really cool. How do anything I'm missing? Because this is super intriguing.
No, just a few differences between us and a few other companies. We use the video chat. We give a lot of our clients free call tracking. We have a free call tracking provider. And then the other key difference is we follow up with a lot of our clients' missed phone calls. So if a call comes into a business, if it's under a minute or they leave a voicemail, we can text back and forth with them and turn those missed phone calls into leads. So just another way. We're always trying to look for ways. How do we get from, 40% more leads to 50% more leads to 60% more leads? So we're always looking for ways to increase that number. And between the call tracking and the lead follow-up, we're able to get that 50% more leads for our clients.
That's awesome. And that's incredible. These are not just leads, they're qualified leads that a human has talked with at some level and has used your parameters to qualify them, and they're serving them up so they'll set an appointment with you. Ted,
exactly right.
Juvo Leads, how does somebody take that next step to learn even more about you, schedule a call with you? What would they do? Simple.
Go to juvoleads.com and click the handsome gentleman on the right in the video. That's myself. And start a chat with us and find out more, test us out, and book some time on my calendar through our chat agents. And we'd love to show you what we can do for your business.
And I love that. I'm going to capture all that in the show notes, by the way, because did you hear what he said? Go to my website, click on the little handsome guy, the chat feature, so you get to experience from a user perspective exactly what they do before you even engage with them. I think that's brilliant. So well done. Well done. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to capture all of that. It's going to be in the show notes because a lot of my listeners are out. I mean, they're driving, they're working, they're walking the dog, they're doing all kinds of things. No worries. We got you covered, because you're going to want to check out Juvo Leads and see how Ted can help you convert more qualified leads using human-powered chat. I love that. Ted, man, thank you for spending some time with me today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Michael. I appreciate you as always.